What's going on, civilians? This is Dave Gamble. You can follow me if you have social media. My Twitter account is @whobutdave. That's @who_but_Dave. You can also follow me if you have Instagram at as promised. That's AS_PROMISED. God bless. Take care of yourselves, people. Now we're going to preview the Western Conference. The Western Conference is almost impossible to comprehend because every team could possibly make it to the NBA Finals. It's a tough road out west, and we're going to start off with the 1-8 matchup, the Golden State Warriors against the New Orleans Pelicans. Golden State was the best team in the NBA by far this year. They went 67-15. Statistically, they had the best offense and the best defense in the league, and they have an MVP candidate, Steph Curry, who in my opinion is the most electric player in the league at this time. They're also led by Klay Thompson, an all-star, one of the best shooters in the league, Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and first-year head coach Steve Kerr, who's won multiple championships with other teams and knows what it takes to get deep in the playoffs. They're going up against the upstart New Orleans Pelicans and their superstar player, Anthony Davis. This is Davis's first stint in the NBA playoffs, and I'm sure the world can't wait to see what he can do against the very best the league has to offer. He led the league in PER, is an MVP candidate in his own right, and will probably be in the playoffs every year following this one. I'm picking the Golden State Warriors to knock off the New Orleans Pelicans in 5 games. I don't think it'll be a clean sweep. I think Golden State will stumble once in New Orleans, and New Orleans will get one victory. Now it's time to discuss the 4-5 matchup out west, with the 4 seed being the Portland Trailblazers going up against the 5 seed Memphis Grizzlies. This will be a very interesting matchup. This will be interesting because Portland is the 4 seed because they won their division, but Memphis actually had a better record. So Memphis will actually have home court advantage even though they are seeded lower than Portland is. Portland will be at a disadvantage without their very best wing player in Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews is an awesome 3-point shooter, a very good defender, and probably Portland's toughest player. He's a matchup nightmare because he can post up smaller players and take bigger players off the dribble. However, going up against Memphis, it's going to be very tough for LaMarcus Aldridge and Damian Lillard, 2 all-stars, to do it by themselves. Although they have Robin Lopez, Nicholas Batum, and Aaron Aflalo, I don't know if they can withstand the ground and pound and grit and grind mentality of Memphis. Memphis led by Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph, and Mike Conley, as well as defensive stalwart Tony Allen, I think are at an advantage, especially because of home court, like I previously said. I'm picking Memphis to beat Portland in 7 games. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think home court will ultimately help Memphis and aid them in advancing on to the second round. Now it's time to discuss the 3-6 matchup out west, which is the Clippers going up against the NBA champion San Antonio Spurs. Both of these teams are combined 28-4 since St. Patrick's Day. It's a very tough draw for both teams, but especially for the Clippers. It sucks that they have to play the champion and the hardest out probably in these playoffs in the first round. Led by perennial all-star and MVP candidate Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, all-NBA and all-defensive hopeful DeAndre Jordan, as well as Coach Doc Rivers. The Clippers have a very good chance, but ultimately I think Kawhi Leonard, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, as well as Greg Popovich will be too much. The depth of San Antonio will outlast Los Angeles depth, seeing as though Jamal Crawford is really the only threat coming off of the Clippers bench. I'm picking the Spurs to beat the Clippers in 7 games and advance to the second round. Now, the very last matchup in the first round, the 2-7 matchup, which is the Houston Rockets going up against the Dallas Mavericks. Houston is led by MVP candidate, the Beard himself, James Harden, does a whole lot of cooking. They also have Dwight Howard back, who missed most of the season, but hopefully he's relatively healthy for these playoffs. Corey Brewer, Trevor Ariza, and Josh Smith will all be key, but ultimately, I think not having Patrick Beverley is going to hurt them going up against Dallas Mavericks and Rajon Rondo, who is a special player when it comes to the playoffs. He usually turns it up in these situations, and putting him alongside the legend Dirk Nowitzki, the all-star Tyson Chandler, Chandler Parsons, as well as Monte Ellis will probably be too much. So I'm going to pick the upset in this series. I'm going with Dallas over Houston in 7 games. I feel like Dallas can come into Houston and win that Game 7 on the road and do the unthinkable.